Hello, everyone. Welcome to Voice of English. This is the place where you can learn English by listening and practicing every day. Each day, we share simple lessons and helpful tips to help you speak English better and with confidence. So get ready to listen, learn, and speak English naturally.
Today we're going to explore something that so many of you have been curious about. What's your English level? Whether you're just starting out, somewhere in the middle, or feeling confident with your skills. This video will help you figure out where you stand and how you can improve even further. We'll be going over real-life examples, natural conversations, useful vocabulary, grammar usage, listening activities, and speaking practice to help you measure your current level of English. Throughout this video, we're going to go step by step and guide you through simple tasks to more advanced activities. And the best part, you'll be practicing along the way. So sit back, get comfortable, and make sure to follow along. You'll not only discover your level of English, but also learn how to take it to the next one. Let's begin. Now, let's begin with the basics. Imagine you're walking into a cafe. You want to order a coffee. You say, "Hi, can I have a coffee, please?" If that sentence feels comfortable to say, and you understand it without thinking too hard, then you're already using beginner-level English effectively in real life. The beginner level, also called A1, focuses on very basic vocabulary and simple sentence structures. You can introduce yourself, talk about your family, say where you're from, and describe what you like and don't like. For example, saying something like, "My name is Sarah. I am from Brazil. I like music and pizza" is perfectly correct at this level. To practice, try saying this out loud with me. "Hello, my name is Da Jian Ding. I am from Diandiantians. I like Yin Ding Dancings." Fill in the blanks with your own details. This small activity helps you speak naturally and confidently. Another thing beginner learners often do is talk about the time, the weather, or their daily routine. You might say, "I wake up at 7, I brush my teeth, I go to work." These are all excellent examples of beginner-level English. Let's try a small exercise together. Listen and repeat. I get up at 6, I eat breakfast, I go to school, I study English, I come home, I watch TV, I go to bed at 10. Now try to make your own version of this daily routine. Keep your sentences short and simple. This builds your speaking and thinking skills in English. Vocabulary is another important part of this level. If you know words like book, pen, car, dog, house, happy, sad, hot, cold, that's great. It means you're building your foundation. Try to name 5 things you can see around you right now in English. Look around and say, "This is a chair. That is a table. I have a phone. I see a window. There is a light." Doing this daily can help you become comfortable with English words in your everyday life. Now, let's test your listening. I will say a sentence slowly, and you try to understand it without reading the captions. Listen carefully. "It is sunny today. I want to go for a walk." Did you catch that? If yes, great job. If not, listen again and try to repeat. Listening is a key part of English learning, especially at beginner level. The more you hear simple, clear English, the more your brain gets used to how it sounds. Speaking is just as important. Many learners feel shy, But remember, nobody speaks perfectly at the beginning. Even native speakers make mistakes. The goal is communication, not perfection. So try this speaking exercise with me. Repeat these sentences. I am learning English. I want to speak better. I am not perfect, but I am trying. Every day I learn something new. Say it with confidence. Believe in yourself. If you practice speaking like this daily, your confidence will grow. Let's add a few more basic questions and answers to practice. I'll ask the question, and you say your own answer out loud. What is your name? Where are you from? How old are you? What do you do? These questions are used very often in daily conversations. Practice answering them again and again until they feel easy. Now that we've talked about beginner level, let's test if you're ready for more. If you can understand everything we've just discussed, and you're able to respond with simple sentences, you may be moving toward the A2 level or pre-intermediate. At this level, learners can understand phrases and expressions related to areas of daily life, such as shopping, work, and family. You may be able to describe your routine in more detail, or ask for help in stores or restaurants. For example, instead of just saying, I want coffee, you can now say, I'd like a cup of coffee with milk, please. That's more polite and natural. Here's a practice example. Imagine you're at a clothing store. A shop assistant says, Can I help you? You say, Yes, I'm looking for a blue shirt. They ask, What size are you? You say, I'm a medium. Now repeat this conversation out loud. It will help your speaking flow naturally. At the pre-intermediate level, you can talk about your past, your future plans, and give reasons for your choices. For example, you might say, I went to the park yesterday because the weather was nice. Or, I'm going to visit my friend next weekend. These kinds of sentences show that you're using more grammar and vocabulary. Let's try an exercise together. I will say a sentence, and you repeat it and change one part to make it your own. Yesterday I went to the supermarket. Now you try. Change supermarket to a place you went to. Maybe you went to the gym, or a restaurant, or the beach. Go ahead and say it. Yesterday I went to, great job. Now try another one. Next weekend, I'm going to visit my... Now you finish the sentence. You can say my cousin, my parents, my friend, or anyone else. Speaking like this helps you move from just knowing words to actually using them in real communication. At this level, it's also good to talk about your likes and dislikes in more detail. Instead of just saying, I like music, you can say, I like listening to jazz music when I relax in the evening. This is more descriptive and helps you express your personality. Here's a challenge. Describe one of your hobbies in detail. Say it out loud. One of my hobbies is... and then continue with details. You could say, one of my hobbies is cooking. I enjoy trying new recipes, especially pasta dishes. It makes me feel creative. Try making your own version of that sentence. Don't worry about mistakes. The more you practice, the better you'll become. Now, let's focus on listening again. I'm going to describe a situation, and you try to understand and imagine it. Anna is in a bookstore. She is looking for a novel by her favorite author. She asks the shop assistant for help. He shows her a new book. She buys it and goes home to read. Did you understand what happened? If you did, that's a good sign of your listening ability. Listening to short stories like this can help you understand how English is used in daily life. Let's do another one. James is late for work. He misses the bus, so he decides to take a taxi. The driver is friendly and talks to him about the weather. James arrives at work just in time. Listening to small situations like this trains your brain to pick up important details. Speaking of conversations, let's practice a small dialogue. I'll say both parts. First, listen. Then repeat it out loud and practice with yourself or a friend. A. Hi, how are you? B. I'm good, thanks. And you? A. I'm doing well. What are you doing this weekend? B. I'm going to a concert with my sister. Now you try it. Say it out loud like it's a real conversation. This is how you build fluency. Practicing everyday conversations prepares you for real-world situations. Next, let's look at how you describe things using adjectives. If someone asks, "What is your house like?" you can say, "It's small but cozy. There are 2 bedrooms and a garden." Try to describe your own house now. Say something like, "My house is," and include at least 3 adjectives. For example, "My house is big, bright, and comfortable." Try again with your own words. This is a simple way to grow your vocabulary and sentence length. Another fun activity is describing your favorite movie. Say the title, what it's about, and why you like it. For example, my favorite movie is The Lion King. It's about a lion cub named Simba who becomes king. I like it because the story is emotional and the music is beautiful. Now you try. Pick your favorite movie and talk about it out loud. Doing this helps your storytelling ability and gives you confidence in speaking. Now let's practice using some common phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs are small combinations of words like get up, turn on, look after, or give up. These are very common in daily English, and they can be tricky at first. Let's use a few in sentences. Repeat after me. I get up at 7 every day. Please turn on the TV. She looks after her younger brother. Don't give up. You can do it. Now try to make your own sentences with these phrasal verbs. Even one sentence each will help a lot. For example, I give up when things are hard can be changed to I don't give up even when it's hard. Practice like this makes your English sound more natural. You may now start to notice your English improving. You understand more when you listen. You speak with more words and better grammar. You can talk about your past, your plans, your opinions, and your experiences. If this sounds like you, congratulations. You may now be reaching the intermediate level. At the intermediate level, your English becomes more flexible. You can talk about different topics in more depth, such as your job, travel experiences, education, or personal goals. You can understand the main idea of TV shows, news articles, or podcasts when the speech is clear. You're not just memorizing sentences anymore. You're creating your own. For example, instead of saying, I go to work, you can say, I usually leave for work at 8 a.m., and I take the train because it's faster than driving. Let's practice this. Try to describe your daily commute. Say something like, I leave the house at Japing and Sanyans and I go to work or school by Kianjuru, Aninius. Fill in the blanks with your details. Use connecting words like because, so, or but to make your sentences longer. At this level, people also start using more complex grammar. One of the common grammar features is the present perfect tense. It connects the past and the present. For example, I have lived in this city for 5 years. It means you started living here 5 years ago, and you still live here now. Let's try a few examples together. Repeat after me. I have just finished my homework. She has never been to London. They have lived here since 2010. Now try to make your own sentence. Think of something you've done recently and say, I have. For example, I have watched a movie, or I have eaten lunch. This kind of practice helps your grammar become more natural. Listening also gets more interesting at this level. You may start watching short interviews, YouTube videos, or documentaries in English. Let's do a listening activity now. I will describe a scene, and you try to imagine it. There is a young woman standing at a train station. She's holding a suitcase and looking at the arrival board. A train arrives and she quickly gets on. She finds a seat by the window and starts reading a book. Did you follow the story? Try retelling it in your own words. A woman is at the station. She takes a train and reads a book. If you can do that, it means your listening comprehension is developing well. Let's shift to speaking again. A good speaking activity at this level is giving your opinion. You can start with phrases like, I think, in my opinion, or I believe. Let's try this together. I'll ask a question, and you give your answer out loud. Do you think it's better to live in the city or the countryside? You could say, I think it's better to live in the city because there are more job opportunities and better transport. Or you might say, I prefer the countryside because it's quiet and peaceful. The key is to explain your reason. Try another one. Is it better to study in the morning or at night? Say your answer out loud and explain why. Describing experiences is another useful skill. Talk about a trip you took, a special event, or something exciting. For example, last summer I traveled to Italy. I visited Rome and Florence. The food was amazing and I loved the old buildings. Now you try. Think of a place you've been to and say, I went to. Then describe what you saw, what you did, and how you felt. This helps you build fluency and learn storytelling in English. Reading also plays a big part at the intermediate level. You can read simple articles, short stories, or blog posts. When you read, try to guess the meaning of new words from the context. Don't stop at every unknown word. Just keep reading and see if you can understand the general idea. Let's try a short reading passage together. Listen carefully. Tom wanted to buy a gift for his sister. He walked into a bookstore and looked around. After some time, he found a novel she would like. He paid for it and left the store smiling. Did you understand what happened? Now tell the story in your own words. Try saying, Tom bought a book for his sister. That's a good summary. Vocabulary is also growing at this stage. You can now learn words in groups or themes. For example, if you're learning about health, Learn words like exercise, diet, illness, medicine, and recovery. Try this. I try to stay healthy by eating fruits, drinking water, and exercising every day. Can you say a sentence like that? Think of 3 things you do to stay healthy and make your own version. For example, I walk every evening, I don't eat junk food, and I sleep 8 hours. Let's do a short speaking task using conditionals. These are sentences like, if I study, I will pass the test. They help you talk about possibilities. Repeat after me. If it rains, I will stay home. If I get a job, I will buy a car. I have a test tomorrow, so I need to hit the books. This exercise is a piece of cake. Now, make your own versions, even if you're not sure. Try. Practicing makes perfect. Let's do a storytelling activity to check your speaking skills. Try to talk about a funny or strange experience you had. For example, one time I missed my bus and decided to walk home. It started to rain and I had no umbrella. When I finally got home, I was soaked, but I laughed because it was such a silly situation. Now try to remember one of your own experiences. Describe what happened, what you felt, and what you learned. Storytelling is a great way to sound fluent and connect with others. Now let's move to writing. At this level, you should be able to write a short email, message, or description with good grammar and structure. Let's practice writing an email to a friend. Imagine your friend asked you about your weekend. You could write, "Hi, Alex, thanks for your message. My weekend was great. On Saturday, I went hiking with some friends. The weather was perfect, and the view from the top was amazing. On Sunday, I relaxed at home and watched a movie. How was your weekend?" Try writing your own email like that. Speak it out loud or write it down, and check your grammar. Now let's practice a small debate. I'll give you a topic, and you say your opinion. The topic is it better to work from home or in an office? You might say, I think working from home is better because it saves time and allows for more flexibility. Or, I prefer working in an office because I like meeting my coworkers face to face. Think of your own reasons and try to express them clearly. This kind of activity helps with organizing your thoughts in English and giving reasons, which is very useful for tests and interviews. Let's not forget pronunciation. At the upper intermediate level, learners begin to notice the rhythm and intonation of English more clearly. It's not just about individual words, but how the sentence sounds. Try reading this aloud with the correct rhythm. I didn't say he stole the money. Now, say it again, but stress different words each time. You'll notice how the meaning changes. For example, if you stress I, it means someone else said it. If you stress he, it means a different person. Practice like this helps your speaking become more natural and expressive. Finally, let's check your progress with a listening and speaking challenge. I'll describe a situation, and you try to respond. Imagine someone says to you, "Hi, I'm visiting your city for the first time. Can you recommend a place to visit?" You might say, "Sure, you should definitely check out the city park. It's beautiful and there are great cafes nearby." Now try making your own suggestion. Think of a place you like and recommend it. This kind of real-life practice is the key to fluency. As you continue to grow as an English learner, you may notice that you're starting to recognize different accents. This is another sign of improvement. English is spoken in many countries, and each has its own way of speaking. There's American English, British English, Australian English, and many others. You don't need to master them all, but it helps to understand the differences. For example, in American English, people say elevator, while in British English, it's lift. Americans say apartment, but British speakers say flat. Let's practice understanding both. Try saying, I live in an apartment, and then, I live in a flat. Both are correct, just used in different regions. Listening to different accents can be challenging at first, but the more you expose yourself to them, the more confident you'll become. Let's do a pronunciation activity. Focus on the difference between long and short vowel sounds. These are small but important. For example, the word ship and sheep. They look similar, but sound different. Ship has a short I sound, and sheep has a long E sound. Say both. Ship, sheep, ship, sheep. Try with bit and beat, or fill and feel. When you say them out loud, listen closely to the vowel sounds. Repeat them a few times, until they feel easy. At this stage, many learners start reading short novels or books written in simple English. These books often have easier vocabulary and grammar, but still tell interesting stories. One example is The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. Another is Charlotte's Web. These books help you improve your vocabulary in context. After reading a chapter, try to summarize it out loud. Say, this chapter was about a boy who discovered something surprising. Or, in this part, the main character has a problem. Summarizing in English is excellent practice. If you like reading news, try websites like BBC Learning English or VOA Learning English. They offer real news stories written for learners. Let's talk about writing again. At this level, you should be able to write a short story. Let's try it together. I'll give you a beginning. One evening, I was walking home when I heard a strange noise behind me. Now you continue the story. Think of what happened next. Was it something scary, funny, or surprising? For example, I turned around and saw a small dog following me. It looked lost, so I picked it up and took it home. Or maybe I ran as fast as I could. But when I looked again, it was just the wind moving the leaves. Use your imagination. This practice not only builds vocabulary, but helps you form full sentences and express emotions. Another useful skill at this level is making suggestions. You use phrases like, you could try, how about, or why don't we? These are helpful in casual conversations and polite discussions. For example, if a friend says they are tired, you could say, you could try going to bed earlier, or how about taking a short nap? Let's practice. Imagine someone says, I want to improve my English speaking. What would you say? You might say, you could try speaking with a language partner. Or, why don't you record yourself speaking and listen to it? Try saying your own suggestion out loud. Now let's move to phrasal verbs. These are verbs combined with prepositions or adverbs, and they're common in daily English. For example, give up means to stop doing something, like I gave up smoking. Look after means to take care of, like I look after my little sister. Another one is find out, which means to discover. Try making your own sentences. Say, I found out my friend was moving, or I look after my neighbor's cat on weekends. These phrasal verbs may seem confusing at first, but with practice, they become natural. Let's test your listening and comprehension with a short dialogue. Listen and then try to repeat or summarize. A. Hey, do you want to grab lunch later? B. Sure, what do you feel like eating? A. Maybe some sushi? B. Sounds good, let's meet at 1 o'clock. Now summarize what just happened. You can say, 2 friends are planning to eat lunch. They agree to meet at 1 for sushi. If you can follow and retell small conversations like this, your English level is definitely improving. Let's try a mini interview activity. Pretend you are being interviewed for a job. I'll ask the questions, and you answer them out loud. First question, can you tell me about yourself? You might say, yes, my name is Sarah. I have a background in marketing, and I enjoy working with social media. Next question, why do you want this job? You could say, because I think I can bring value to your team, and I enjoy this type of work. Last question, what are your strengths? Maybe I'm organized, reliable, and I learn quickly. Now try answering these again in your own words. Practicing interviews builds confidence and fluency. Now let's go through an exercise in describing changes and trends. You can use phrases like has increased, has decreased, or has remained the same. For example, the number of students in the school has increased in the last 5 years. Or the price of food has gone up recently. Now try describing something around you. Maybe the weather, population in your city, or how your schedule has changed. Say something like, since last year, my workload has decreased, or the traffic in my area has become worse. These kinds of sentences help you describe changes clearly. To finish this section, let's talk about confidence. Language learning is a long journey. Some days you feel good, and some days you feel stuck. That's normal. Don't compare yourself with others. Focus on your progress. No matter how small, celebrate every time you use a new word correctly. Understand a podcast, or finish reading a story. Learning English is not about being perfect. It's about improving step by step. The fact that you're listening and practicing right now means you are moving forward. So keep going. Practice a little every day. Try to use English in your real life. And believe that you're getting better. As your English continues to improve, one of the best ways to check your level is by practicing real-world conversations. For example, imagine you're at a hotel. The receptionist asks, "Do you have a reservation?" You reply, "Yes, it's under the name Mia." They respond, "Okay, let me check. You're staying for 2 nights, correct?" You say, "Yes, that's right." Try practicing this kind of exchange. Repeat it aloud, change the details, and make your own version. Pretend you're checking into a hotel, ordering food at a restaurant, or shopping at a store. These types of role play activities are powerful because they mirror real life. Let's do a shopping role play. Imagine you walk into a clothing store. A shop assistant says, "Can I help you with anything?" You reply, "Yes, I'm looking for a jacket." They ask, "What size are you?" You say, "Medium." Then they show you one and say, "This one is popular this season." You reply, "Can I try it on?" They say, "Of course, the fitting room is over there." Now pause and try to say that dialogue by yourself. Try to make your own variation. Maybe you're buying shoes, or a dress, or a shirt. Use full sentences, and think about what you would say in real life. Now let's practice expressing preferences. These are sentences where you say what you like or don't like. You can say, "I prefer tea to coffee," or "I'd rather stay at home than go out tonight." Try saying your preferences for food, music, and hobbies. For example, "I prefer spicy food," or "I'd rather listen to rock music than pop." These structures are useful in conversations with friends, or even in job interviews when talking about your working style. Let's try one more. Do you prefer working in a team or alone? You might say, "I prefer working in a team because I enjoy collaboration." Think of your own answer and speak it out loud. At the upper intermediate level, you should also be able to make comparisons. Use words like more, less, better, or as. For example, "This movie is more interesting than the last one," or "My phone is not as fast as yours." Try comparing two things in your life. Say, "My new job is better than my old one," or "Summer is more exciting than winter." These sentence patterns help you describe your thoughts clearly and accurately. Practicing them out loud helps make them automatic. Another great way to test your English level is by discussing opinions on general topics. For example, what do you think about social media? You might say, "I think social media is useful for staying in touch with friends, but it can also be a distraction." Or try, "In my opinion, people spend too much time online these days." Now you try. Pick a topic like technology, travel, or health, and give your opinion. Use expressions like "I think," "I believe," or "in my view." The more you speak about ideas, the more fluent and natural your English will become. Let's do a small practice together. I'll say a topic, and you try to talk about it for 1 minute. The topic is, describe your ideal vacation. Think about where you would go, what you would do, and why you would enjoy it. For example, my ideal vacation would be a beach holiday. I would go to a tropical island with white sand and clear water. I'd relax, swim, and enjoy fresh seafood. It would be peaceful and refreshing. Now take a deep breath and try your own version. Speak slowly and clearly. Even if you make mistakes, keep going. That's how you improve. Let's move on to more advanced grammar. Today, we'll look at the second conditional. This is used for unreal or imaginary situations. The structure is, if plus past simple would plus base verb. For example, if I won the lottery, I would travel the world. This doesn't mean you have won, it's just a dream. Try saying a few examples. If I had more free time, I would learn another language. Or, if I lived in the mountains, I would go hiking every day. Now create your own. Think about a dream or an unreal situation and form a sentence using this structure. Let's try listening and responding to a real-life situation. Imagine someone says, "I'm really nervous about my exam tomorrow." You could say, "I understand. Just try your best and don't forget to rest." Or, "Good luck. I'm sure you'll do great." Responding to people's feelings is an important part of communication. Let's try another one. Someone says, "I didn't sleep well last night." You can respond, "That's tough. Maybe take a nap if you can." Or, "I hope you feel better soon." Practice a few responses out loud. These help build emotional intelligence in conversation. Now let's look at vocabulary expansion. One tip to improve your vocabulary is to learn words in groups or categories. For example, if you're learning words about cooking, you might learn boil, fry, bake, grill, ingredients, and recipe. Learning words that belong together helps your brain remember them faster. Let's try a few categories. For transportation, car, bus, train, subway, taxi, fare, and ticket. For emotions, happy, excited, nervous, bored, relaxed, and anxious. Pick one group and try to make full sentences with each word. For example, "I'm feeling a bit anxious about my presentation." Or, "I usually take the subway to work because it's fast." This kind of focused practice really helps your vocabulary grow. Let's try a role play about making an appointment. Imagine calling a doctor's office. The receptionist says, "Good morning, how can I help you?" You say, "I'd like to make an appointment with the doctor." They ask, "What's the reason for your visit?" You reply, "I've been having headaches for a few days." Then they say, "Okay, we have an opening tomorrow at 10 a.m. You say, "That works for me." "Thank you." Now repeat this conversation out loud. Then try your own version with a dentist or a hairdresser. These real-life situations are very useful for everyday life. To finish this part, let's talk about setting goals. One way to move to the next English level is by setting small, clear goals. For example, I will learn 5 new words every day. Or, I will watch 1 English video daily. When you set goals, you stay motivated. You can track your progress and feel proud of your efforts. Don't worry about perfection. Focus on progress. Every word you learn, every sentence you say, and every mistake you fix helps you become more fluent. Believe in yourself. Keep practicing, and you'll reach your goals step by step. Another powerful way to improve your English level is by shadowing. Shadowing means listening to a native speaker and repeating what they say immediately, trying to match the pronunciation, rhythm, and speed. This technique helps with speaking fluency, pronunciation, and even listening. You can use short audio clips, such as conversations, movie scenes, or podcast episodes. Play one sentence, pause, repeat it out loud, then continue. For example, listen to a line like, "I didn't expect that at all." Then say it yourself, copying the tone and speed. Do this several times. Over time, your mouth and brain will get used to forming English sentences naturally, and your accent will improve as well. Let's now focus on storytelling. Telling stories in English is a sign of an upper-level learner. You can talk about a real event, a dream, or even something imaginary. Let's try together. I'll start a story, and you can continue it in your own words. Last weekend, something funny happened. I went to the supermarket to buy some fruits. As I was picking up some apples, a little child pointed at me and shouted, "That's my teacher." Everyone looked at me, and I was so surprised because I had never seen that child before. Now imagine what might happen next. Did Mia talk to the child? Was it a case of mistaken identity? Finish the story using your imagination. When you can tell a short story in English, it shows you can think in English and organize your ideas. Now let's review some common connectors that help you speak smoothly and clearly. These include words like because, so, however, although, in addition, and for example. They help you connect ideas and make your sentences more advanced. For instance, I didn't go to the park because it was raining. Or, I wanted to call her. However, my phone had no signal. Let's practice combining ideas. Take two simple sentences like, I was tired. I went to bed early. Combine them using a connector. I was tired, so I went to bed early. Try making your own examples with although or because. Practicing connectors helps your speech and writing become smoother and more natural. Let's now move to describing people. This is a great way to use adjectives and make your English more detailed. You can describe appearance, personality, and habits. For example, my best friend is tall, with curly brown hair and a warm smile. She's very kind and always helps others. She's also very organized and loves planning things. Now describe someone you know. Think about their looks, their behavior, and what makes them special. Use words like friendly, creative, funny, serious, hardworking, or relaxed. Describing people is something you do often in conversations and social situations. Next, let's practice with an everyday activity, giving directions. Imagine someone asks you how to get to the library. You could say, go straight down this street, then turn left at the traffic light. The library is next to the bank on your right. Or maybe, take the second street on the right, then walk 2 blocks. You'll see the library on the corner. Try giving directions from your house to a nearby shop, park, or school. Even if you just imagine it, speaking it out helps you organize your thoughts and use clear, useful vocabulary. Let's do a quick pronunciation practice with regular verbs in the past tense. Many learners find it hard to pronounce the ed ending correctly. It can sound like t/, /d/ or /id/. For example, worked ends with a t sound dot, played with a d sound, and wanted with an ed sound. Say them slowly. Worked, played, wanted. Let's try a few more. Laughed, called, needed. Repeat those aloud and feel the difference. Practicing these will make your speech much clearer. Another great way to show your English level is by making polite requests. In English, we often soften our language to sound more polite. Instead of saying, "Give me the book," we say, "Could you give me the book, please?" Or, "Would you mind helping me?" These polite forms are important in both social and professional settings. Let's practice. Imagine you're in a cafe. You want to ask for a glass of water. You can say, "Could I have a glass of water, please?" Or you're asking a coworker for help. "Would you mind explaining this to me?" Now try making your own polite requests. It helps you sound respectful and confident. Let's now do a quick vocabulary game. I'll describe something, and you guess what it is. It's round, it has numbers, and it tells the time. That's right, it's a clock. Next one. You sit on it, it usually has 4 legs, and you use it to eat meals. Yes, it's a chair. This type of activity builds your vocabulary and helps your brain connect meaning with English words quickly. Try doing this on your own. Think of 5 items in your room, describe them aloud, and then say the word. Another useful skill at this level is paraphrasing. This means saying the same idea in different words. For example, "He's very tired" can also be said as, "He's completely exhausted," or "I don't understand" becomes, "I'm not following." Paraphrasing helps you sound more natural and flexible in English. Let's practice. How would you say, "I'm happy" in another way? You could say, "I'm feeling great," or "I'm in a good mood." Try paraphrasing these. "She's angry." "It's cold outside." "I don't like it." Say each one in a new way. This expands your vocabulary and helps your fluency. To wrap up this part, let's do a mini debate. Imagine 2 people are talking about online learning. One person says, "Online learning is more convenient because you can study from home." The other says, "But in-person classes are better for interaction and motivation." Think about which one you agree with and explain why. For example, "I think online learning is great because it saves time and is flexible. I can learn at my own pace." Or, "I prefer classroom learning because it's easier to ask questions and stay focused." Now give your own opinion. Speak out loud, even if it's just for 1 minute. Expressing your thoughts clearly and respectfully is a high-level communication skill. Let's now focus on job interview practice. Being able to introduce yourself professionally and answer common interview questions is a strong sign of an upper intermediate or even advanced English level. Imagine you're applying for an office job. The interviewer says, "Tell me about yourself." You could answer, "My name is Mia, and I have 3 years of experience in customer service. I am a good communicator, and I enjoy solving problems. In my free time, I like reading and learning new skills." Try your own version. Think about your skills, your experience, and what makes you a good candidate. Then practice saying it out loud. Another common question is, "What are your strengths?" You might say, "I'm very organized and I always meet my deadlines." Or, "I'm a team player and I enjoy working with others." These answers should be clear, positive, and confident. Practicing them aloud helps you sound more natural when the real situation comes. Let's try a short mock interview. I'll ask a question, and you answer it in your own words. First question, "Why do you want to work here?" Take a moment to think and answer. Next question, "What do you do when you face a challenge at work?" Again, think and answer. Finally, Where do you see yourself in 5 years? These are common interview questions, and being able to answer them fluently shows a high level of English. Even if you're not looking for a job now, this type of practice helps you express complex ideas in clear, structured sentences. Now let's practice giving instructions. In many jobs and daily situations, we need to tell someone how to do something. You could say, to make a cup of tea, first boil the water, then put the tea bag in a cup and pour the hot water over it. Let it sit for a few minutes, then remove the tea bag and add milk or sugar if you like. Try explaining how to do something simple, like making your favorite dish, using a machine, or logging into an app. For example, to log into the app, open it, enter your username and password, then click the login button. Giving clear step-by-step instructions helps you sound fluent and confident. Let's talk about describing places. This is great for both conversation and writing. You can say, my hometown is small but beautiful. It has green hills, clean streets, and friendly people. There's a river that runs through the town, and it's a popular spot for walking and picnics. Now you try. Describe where you live or a place you've visited. Use descriptive words like peaceful, noisy, crowded, modern, historical, or charming. For example, I visited Paris last year. The streets were full of life, and the architecture was stunning. This kind of language shows strong vocabulary and storytelling ability. Let's do some error correction. I'll say a sentence with a mistake, and you try to find and correct it. He don't like pizza. What's wrong? The correct sentence is, he doesn't like pizza. Next, she go to school every day. The correct form is, she goes to school every day. Try a few more. I agree with you. Correction, I agree with you. Another one, they was tired. Correct sentence, they were tired. This kind of practice trains your ear to hear mistakes and builds your grammar awareness. Now let's do a vocabulary challenge. I'll give you a word, and you try to use it in a sentence. The word is improve. Example, I want to improve my English this year. Now you try. Next word, challenge. Example, learning a new language is a big challenge. Try your own sentence. Next, confident. Example, I feel more confident when I speak slowly and clearly. Think of your own version. Practicing vocabulary like this helps turn passive knowledge into active speaking ability. Next, we'll practice agreeing and disagreeing politely. In English, it's important to express your opinion respectfully. For example, if you agree, you can say, I totally agree, or that's a good point. If you disagree, you can say, I see what you mean, but I think differently, or I'm not sure I agree with that. Let's practice. Imagine someone says, everyone should work from home. You might say, I agree because it saves time and money. Or, I disagree because it's harder to focus at home. Try practicing both responses aloud. Polite discussion is a key part of fluent English. Now let's imagine a situation at a restaurant. The waiter says, are you ready to order? You reply, yes, I'll have the grilled chicken with a side salad. They say, would you like anything to drink? You respond, just water, please. Later they ask, how was everything? You say, it was great, thank you. Try repeating this conversation. Then change it with your favorite meal. These are very common interactions in English-speaking countries, so being comfortable with them is important. Let's do a memory recall exercise. I'll describe something, and you try to remember and repeat the details. Yesterday, I went to the market and bought 3 apples, 2 bananas, and a watermelon. Then I stopped at the bakery and picked up a loaf of bread and some cookies. Now try to say what I bought. Memory and repetition like this help improve both your vocabulary and your ability to retain information in English. Next, we'll work on intonation and emotion. English is not just about the words, it's about how you say them. Let's say this sentence with different feelings. I can't believe it. Say it with surprise. Now say it with anger. Now say it with sadness. You'll notice how your voice changes. Practicing intonation adds life to your speech and helps listeners understand your emotions. Try a few more. That's great. I don't know. What are you doing? Say them with different emotions and see how your tone changes. Finally, let's do a summary activity. Think about everything we've practiced today. Introductions, opinions, directions, interviews, storytelling, vocabulary, grammar, emotions, and daily life conversations. Try speaking for 2 minutes about what you've learned today. You could say, "Today I practiced many things in English. I learned how to describe places and people, give opinions politely, and use better vocabulary. I also practiced grammar and pronunciation. I feel more confident now." Try your own version. This helps you review, reflect, and build fluency. Let's take a moment to reflect on how important it is to stay motivated during your English learning journey. Language learning is a long process, and everyone progresses at their own pace. Sometimes you feel like you're making great progress, and other times it may feel like you're stuck. That's normal. Don't worry if you don't understand everything immediately. Even native speakers make mistakes and forget words. What matters is that you keep showing up, practicing, and using the language. Every time you read, write, listen, or speak in English, you're getting better. Progress might feel slow, but it's happening. Be proud of every small win, whether it's understanding a new word, finishing a short story, or holding a 5-minute conversation. Let's do one last speaking activity. I want you to imagine your perfect day. Describe it in as much detail as you can. You can say something like, "On my perfect day, I wake up early and go for a walk in the park. The weather is sunny, but not too hot. I have breakfast at my favorite cafe, just a cup of coffee, and a warm croissant. Then I read a book or listened to music. In the afternoon, I meet my friends, and we go to the beach. We play volleyball and swim in the sea. In the evening, we have dinner together and watch a movie." Now it's your turn. Speak slowly and clearly. Imagine every part of the day from morning to night. What do you do? Who are you with? How do you feel? This kind of activity builds your fluency and confidence and helps you practice everyday vocabulary and verb tenses. As we come to the end of this video, let's do a final review of some key things we've practiced. we talked about different levels of English, from beginner to advanced, and how to identify where you are. We practiced pronunciation, storytelling, giving opinions, expressing emotions, and describing people, places, and routines. We worked on grammar, like past tense and regular verbs. We also did some error correction, polite requests, vocabulary building, and even a mock interview. You've done a lot in this lesson, and you should feel proud of that. Remember, learning a language is about consistency. Try to practice every day. Even 10 minutes a day makes a difference. Here's one last listening and speaking challenge for you. I'll say a paragraph, and I want you to repeat it after me. Then, try saying it again on your own, without looking. Ready? Learning English has changed the way I see the world. Every new word I learn gives me more confidence. I know it's not easy, but I believe in myself. I enjoy the process, and I'm not afraid of making mistakes. Every mistake is a step forward. I'm getting better every day. Now, repeat that out loud. Then, try to say it again without looking or listening. This kind of shadowing and repetition builds your memory, pronunciation, and fluency at the same time. Before we end, here's a final tip. Don't be afraid to speak. Many learners understand a lot, but hesitate to talk because they fear mistakes. But making mistakes is how we learn. Speak with friends, join language exchange groups, talk to yourself, record your voice, or use apps that help with conversation. The more you speak, the more natural it becomes. Don't worry about sounding perfect. Communication is the goal. People will appreciate your effort, and every conversation will make you stronger in English. Let me share a quick personal story. When I first started learning a new language, I was so nervous to speak. I knew the grammar and the words, but I couldn't speak fluently. One day, I decided to stop being afraid. I joined a speaking club and started talking every week. At first, I made many mistakes, but after a few months, I could speak confidently and even joke in the language. You can do the same. All it takes is practice and a positive attitude. Finally, let's talk about goal setting. Set clear, realistic goals for your English. Maybe you want to have a 5-minute conversation, write an email, watch a movie without subtitles, or pass a test. Whatever your goal is, break it down into small steps. Write it down, make a plan, and check your progress. For example, if your goal is to speak fluently, your steps could include practicing speaking for 5 minutes a day, learning 10 new words a week, and listening to an English podcast every morning. Celebrate your progress along the way. Congratulations on making it to the end of this video. You've just completed over 55 minutes of full English immersion. That's amazing. Keep practicing the skills we covered today. Watch this video again if needed, and use it as a daily or weekly practice. Share it with your friends who are also learning English. The more you practice, the more confident and fluent you'll become. Remember, your English level is not fixed. It's always growing. You are capable of learning and improving every day. Keep going and never give up.